Hey, Robert, welcome to the Online Course Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been a long time since we last spoke to each other, which was sort of a fun memory, but I'm super excited to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure, man. So, courses, we're talking about courses. How did you get started?
Um, well, at the Vocalist Studio back in the day, I used to print and hump and mail DVDs that had video content of myself demonstrating these vocal workouts for students and coaches around the world. That became a mess and a hassle. And as soon as the technology came around where I could take the videos and put them in to a proper delivery system for courses, I went after that. So, how to get into courses? Mostly based on good business decisions, wanting to reduce operational overhead, wanting to reduce headaches in my head, and wanting to scale better.
How long ago is back in the day? You said back in the day. When was that?
Gosh, I suppose you could do this then, but I'm not certainly the technology wasn't this was it is today. I would say maybe mhm, about 2012. I went all digital on courses. You know,
Yeah.
I
And
took
how long before that were you?
the system. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people kind of start with the courses, especially today, as you alluded to, right? I don't get a lot of people on who started with like DVDs, like real old school, and then transitioned that into courses, right? Were you just kind of a local vocal teacher before you decided to try to really scale this thing?
Um, no, I don't think so. I started off as a local vocal teacher, but I was working very closely with a Danish company called TC Helicon early on as a private coach, as the director of the TC Helicon Voice Council. So I was responsible for recruiting great voice coaches around the world in different countries. That kind of put me on an international map. So thankfully, right off the bat, I was um, not sort of like the local guy. Also, I think I can't confirm this, but it's possible I might be the first voice coach to ever do how-to videos on YouTube.
So when did you start on YouTube?
It's possible before Google bought them and the whole thing. It just seemed like a good idea. I tried it, and there was like no action at the time from other coaches. Geez, man, 2006,
Goodness.
2007 ish. Yeah, like if I wasn't the first guy, I'm certainly like one of the first like 4 or 5 people to do it. I believe. So I was because I had the wherewithal to kind of get out internationally. I understood that that digital content can cross borders and jump ponds. So I think pretty much from the get go it was international. Yeah,
Yeah. So tell me
and it was
about those.
always doing courses. By the way, sorry to interrupt, but the content that was baked on the DVDs was put in a sequence, and it was not too different than what we're doing today. You just tossed in a video or tossed in a you know a DVD. But yeah, it was a smart decision to rip it off the DVD and put it into an LMS system. Yeah.
How are you? It sounds like you got started quite a bit earlier than I did. So I jumped in. I started in 2013. So there
Okay.
were course options, right? I went straight into the
Yeah.
course. So I'm fascinated by the DVD thing, right? How did you market and sell it when you're shipping out DVDs in the mail?
YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, because again, at that time, so let's go back, Jock. Imagine the time. Imagine the time when YouTube only had like you and 4 other guys. That's what we're talking about. So it was like me and about 4 other dudes, about 5 other dudes on YouTube. And so the traffic came and they went to and they bought. So it was, social, it was organic traffic from social media and creating content out at YouTube, really. And to this day, I still do not spend Nothing to very little to paid traffic. Um, I'm not necessarily advocating that for people because now I own an agency where we offer that service and I've seen the results. But if you get a reputation and you get mojo going on YouTube, it can work for you. So I was kind of the right idea at the right time. Okay. Understanding, oh, there's this medium. If I get in front of this camera, then people can see me anywhere in the world. And enough nuts to just try it. And so, yeah. So I'm like, YouTube pioneer here, dude. Not
We're
anymore.
talking
I don't do it nearly as much as I used to because now it's all noisy and competitive, and I have other responsibilities. But yeah, back in the day, it was a good idea. Yeah.
it was so long ago. It was almost back when it was a dating platform.
Was YouTube ever a dating platform?
That's how it started. Yeah, it started as a dating platform to kind of put yourself out there on video to find matches with dating.
That's funny. I didn't know that. It's not that far back. Okay, but before Google bought them, years. Let's say 2 or 3 years before Google bought them. So whatever that date is, it would have been about 2 to 3 years.
Sure.
And here's something that I think is sort of fun: is as a voice coach, I'm sort of an idiot savant at it. You might know what I'm talking about. Like I didn't really ask for that to become really great voice coach. It just sort of just was really natural to me, and so it took off well. People enjoyed it. But here's the point I want to make is I have old content of me that I did on YouTube videos or my first version of the DVDs. So the very first time I ever did the DVDs, version 1, the product's called The Four Pillars of Singing. When we're like on version 8 now. But on version 1 was me wearing t-shirts in like Carhartt pants. Okay, like really bulky Carhartt pants, black and white. I don't think I had to do black and white, but I just didn't care. I didn't think it through. I just did black and white. Some of those early videos are still on YouTube right now. And for fun, for nostalgic reasons, there's probably 5 or 6 that are in the current course. So if you get the current course, you'll see some really old, ancient videos that have been, enhanced with a very young version of me wearing Carhartt pants, just going for it. And so it's sort of fun that way. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have any reservations or concerns at the very beginning that singing was something that could be taught not in person?
Very good question. That is a concern that students seem to have far more than I do once I got my product out. Another one thing about that is when you set out to create a online course with evergreen content, one of the fundamental purpose of doing that is so that you don't have to be there all the time. So you go into the project with the mindset of, okay, this isn't going to be a private one-on-one lesson. This is going to be for some poor kid that lives in a forest in Sweden that can't afford to take a private lesson and, and has a dream, wants to become a singer. So how do I get everything that I know to them? And then off you go with, at the time I didn't know what it was called. Now I do because I own an agency that does this. You start with instructional design. You begin to sort of design your content. It's sort of intuitive to get after that. And maybe in the weeds a little bit here, but the short answer to your question is I wasn't concerned about it. No.
But you brought up the agency a couple of times now, and so let's kind of jump to forward, and then we'll maybe later on jump back to the story. But as somebody who has run their own successful course business for quite some time now, and now you're helping others to do that with your services and your team.
Yeah.
Somebody looking to get into this now in 2024.
Yeah.
What are the steps that you recommend as kind of an expert in this area now?
Okay. So So in regards to CourseCREEK, the agency that I now own where we're helping folks make courses, the first thing that you need to do is understand there's a lot of good first things. There are. There's a handful of first things to think about. But when people ask me that question, what comes to my mind the most would be the LMS, the learning management system. Make sure that the LMS that you select, the platform, is going to meet the needs of your course. So all these platforms, Kajabi, LearnWorlds, Docebo, Talent LMS, these are all companies we work with day to day. They are all engineered and architected to service a slightly different customer avatar. Guys like you and me, we could be on any of these platforms if you had to be, but some of them would be too expensive and not necessary. Guys like you and me are really great for LearnWorlds and Kajabi. Okay. In fact, my singing course is on Kajabi. Kajabi is really great for thought leaders, public speakers, people like yourself, where the product isn't only the course, but the product is the individual as well that's teaching it. It seems to be good for that. If you want to do 25 courses with 25 instructors, no, it won't work for that. If you want to do SCORM and get Articulate 360 in there, fancy authoring tools that make the learner interfaces interactive and pop like pop-up books, we work with software like that. That's not Kajabi. Kajabi doesn't even take that. So again, short answer for you is start with the LMS. Align your business model and your learners and their needs with the LMS. Because if you get involved in implementing and designing and building an LMS and you get down the road and you realize, I need multi-tenancy. I need large enterprise companies to come in here and buy licenses. I have one company that wants to buy 20 seats for their employees. I have another company that wants to buy 120 seats for their employees. They're asking for different elements of content that I've created. They need to come into my system and not have any security issues. Kajabi can't do something like that, but other platforms can. So you got to look at the use case.
So the majority of the people in my audience listening to this podcast would be more like me and you, not these big enterprise solutions and whatnot. So I agree with you. Kajabi is still great for that. Something like that. So let's say that I'm just an individual and I have a thing I want to teach, and I'm not this big enterprise situation that you alluded to. Okay, I picked my LMS. It aligns. What's next?
Next is get an instructional designer, a professional instructional designer. There are people in the world that they have a title. They're called instructional designers. They go to school, they learn, and they train to do this stuff. What is an instructional designer? It's somebody that has studied the science of retaining information, the science of students being exposed to information they need to learn, and what that experience is for them, how to make that most effective, and then how to help them to retain it. All right. So, not to belittle what you and I do, let's sing and let's play piano. That's important. But in the world, there's also things like air traffic control. Okay. And being a nurse and things that where lives are on the line. So it's important to have an instructional designer that will go in and work with you. I tell my clients this. So you, me, Chalk, you, me, and your listeners are the artist. I'm going to speak from a musician's perspective because this tends to resonate. It's a good metaphor. We're the artists. And the course makers, the agency is the producer. Okay, so they help make the vision of what you want to create, what you need to create, a reality. And they have ideas and things like authoring tools and specialized software and recommending the right learning management system and ways of sequencing your lessons, okay, and the ways of sequencing your assessments and your quizzes and things that you're not aware of that will make what you want better. Okay. So the experts in our content is us but the experts in getting the most out of our content for the learners is an instructional designer. So answering your question, number 2 would be align yourself with somebody that knows how to create a storyboard, knows how to create curriculums, knows how to create content maps, which means aligning each lesson with the proper technology to teach that lesson. Not every lesson is proper for a video. Okay, sometimes we want to download, sometimes we want to do a story problem, sometimes we want to do other things. Get a designer. Otherwise, if you don't get a designer and a developer, there's a very high risk that your course will look amateurish. And if I may, based on a course as a course developer and someone that's helping others for 6 years doing this, here's something about making courses that I think is good advice for your listeners that I'd like to share. In life, there are some things where you can go kind of in the middle, or maybe go cheap. Restaurants, buying a car. You don't need the Porsche, the Honda is fine. But when it comes to producing courses and other creative endeavors like making movies, making albums, writing songs, you don't go into it, which making courses sits under that family of creative endeavors. You don't go into it thinking, I'm going to be cheap. I'm going to go with the cheap option because it will be a failure. I've seen it before. I encourage people to do that when I was still learning how to be an agency owner. It doesn't work. You either go based on budget, budget, you have to consider your budget, but you go all in on making your course as beautiful, as an engaging, and as amazing and cool factor as you can possibly afford and can do. Just like if you're going to make an album or a movie. And when you do that, they tend to be a success.
I'm going to speak for my audience and push back a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, please. That's fine.
So in a couple areas. First of all, you're comparing it to a movie or a song, something like that. And I don't know that it's a complete one-to-one comparison, because movies, songs, you really want to get those as perfect as possible, because it's hard to iterate movies and songs. We can iterate courses. You mentioned 8 versions of your course, right? We can roll version 1 out on a shoestring budget, knowing we can make version 2 better, version 3 better.
Yep.
When we're just getting started.
Yep. That's a valid point. And I think that's a good point. I think that's fair. You can reiterate on courses. Perhaps what I'm saying is your V1 being the best it can be. I've had people make a decision to go cheap because it was cheap, not because they couldn't spend an extra $2,000 to get better video editing and something like that. Yeah.
It's hard. The reason I'm saying what I'm saying as well is because when you're just getting started and you're just an average person who wants to make you make your mark on the world, and you have this valuable information you feel like you can share with people.
Yeah.
The average person doesn't want to spend a ton of money on something that they are not 100% sure on is going to work. Right? So maybe hiring an instructional designer for version 2, version 3, I could see that being a possibility. But I think the average person listening to this audience would not be interested in spending that money if they don't have to at the beginning, right? And so if I'm going to invest that money on version 1, how are you confident that I'm going to build an audience and have people that are actually going to buy it and get the pricing right and get my offer right and all that, to where I know this is going to be a viable business that will pay off on the investments I'm making ahead of time?
The pricing and the offer is definitely something that has to reiterate. You would reiterate on getting that nailed down, whether you put more time and budget on the front end V1 or not. That's going to happen regardless. The reiteration. I think I'm also speaking from Jacques. I'm also speaking from from an orientation and an influence of my clients, the kinds of clients we've worked with. So most of our clients are going to invest in at least, no less than 8, up to potentially 30 to get something done. So that's just the world I've been playing in.
Yeah.
Can you do a course? Can someone do a course? Can someone go to Kajabi and do a course and make videos from home and all that and get it all done by just sweat equity and spend $2,000? Yes. Yes. I did that. That's what I did. So listeners, that's what I did. I did that and worked my butt off for 5-6 years to get it right. And and that's a good point, Jacques. I have reiterated many times to get mine right. I had to get it right. I had to do that. If somebody comes to a service, to an agency, it's my responsibility to advise them to not have to go through that if they don't have to. I don't want my clients to have to spend 6 years reiterating and learning lessons the hard way. I'd rather just give them the keys to something gorgeous and beautiful and ready to go if they can afford it.
The majority of people coming to you to work with you, are they not established course creators already looking to scale? Are they really people starting at the beginning and willing to invest that much up front?
There are some people that do. We have we have a lot of services, but we do have sort of clients that we will tag as CourseCREEK folks that just start with a twinkle in their eye. And then we have CourseCorrect people, which are going to be bigger, more established, that already have courses. Guys like you and me that need, instructional design, they need an audit, they need marketing, they need a funnel, they need, a better platform or something like that. So in regards to CourseCREEK folks that just have a great idea, yeah, we've got there's a healthy amount of folks out there that have budget that can do something really nice because their business, they're already, they've already been doing it. They're successful in their business. They want to augment their book and their travel and their enterprise training that they're doing at companies and that sort of thing. They want to augment it with a course. People that come to us and say, I don't have a book, I don't have a deck, I've never taught this in front of, I have no income that has come in from this idea. It's only an idea. And I'm not a trust fund baby. That's difficult. That's difficult for us to be able to give them what we believe they need.
That the situation you just described is more the situation of the people listening to this, and it was how I got started. It sounds like it's more how you got started as well, right?
It is. Just like I paid with all sweat equity. Well, and then a
Right.
lot of money for a videographer at the time. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's how I got started. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'd like to lean more on that example and that avatar, if you don't mind, and with your recommendations.
Okay.
It sounds like even for that type of person, you select your LMS, you design the course, even if you do it yourself, right?
Yep.
Um, then you record the course. A lot of people would recommend, hey, let's not build the course first because we don't know if it's even going to work. We don't know if you're attracting the right people, if you're giving the people the right solution for their problems.
Mm-hmm.
Let's build the audience first, and then maybe pre-sell something and really try to get the
Yeah.
audience, like product market fit, right first before we spend all this effort creating the course. What do you say to that approach?
Well, that's what I did. So yeah, get out. So get out to YouTube. Start making videos. I mean, if you've got a big heart and a lot of work ethic, like I guess myself and Jock, then go make content. Get on YouTube and you can test it there and get a following and get folks coming in, and then you move into maybe offering them a service. Sure.
Do you
Yeah.
think YouTube's the best place still to do that today?
If you don't have the budget for paid media or to do automated outreach on LinkedIn, like if you don't have the budget to do monthly recurring lead generation services, then I don't know. I don't have a lot of other ideas on what you could do. I certainly YouTube would be one of the best things that you could do. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on your niche and also your interest, right? If you are an avid Instagram user and never touch YouTube, maybe it makes more sense to be on a platform that you're actively using and loving,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, I'll give you another example. When I started this brand, right, the Online Course Guy, the Online Course Show, I didn't start with YouTube on this one. I did with Piano in 21 Days, but I started with a podcast because I liked podcasts. I loved podcasts. I was listening to podcasts, and this niche I felt would work well with a podcast with the audio format, right?
Hmm.
Unlike Piano in 21 Days, where you kind of need to see me, my hands, and my keyboard on camera to know what to do. But with talking about online business, online courses, primarily an audio mechanism works. And I love podcasts, and it worked. It worked. I started this 7 years ago. It's been
Yeah.
great. One of the
Okay.
best business decisions I've ever made. So in general, I think YouTube's a great path, but every day that passes, there's more and more options. I've seen people succeed with just TikTok. I've seen people succeed with just LinkedIn as far as audience building platforms.
Yeah. I think when I mentioned YouTube, I'm it's figurative. It's a way of saying social media. So
Hmm.
I would agree that if you're already a big thing and you got a tribe happening at Instagram, yeah, go in there. If you're offering leadership training and stay there, but might want to think about LinkedIn. So I would agree with you in regards to where you have traction on the social media platforms.
Cool.
Yeah,
So what
yeah,
what does your online course business look like today? The Vocalist Studio. You mentioned that you've historically paid very little on ads. Is most of the traffic coming in through YouTube? What does the funnel look like? Tell me a little bit more about that. The way that business is set up today.
yeah, sure. It is uh, traffic from YouTube. Years of YouTube. I got gobs of videos up there. Traffic from two forum groups that I've built on singing. One is called the modernvocalistworld.com. We have like 18,000 members, and then we have 11,000 members on a group in Facebook. So I post on Facebook. Coincidentally, just in the last 4 weeks, I got my first TikTok account, and I've had Instagram, but I haven't done anything with it. So now I'm just now starting to do something with Instagram. So I am slow mover on TikTok and Instagram. Again, just within the last 4 to 6 weeks, um, somebody in our team is now doing organic posts out of those platforms, which are great because I have great gobs of content that need to be repurposed. So as far as social media, that's one generation of traffic for the Vocalist Studio. I also work with sponsors. At the moment, I'm working with Mojave Audio, which builds a beautiful boutique microphone in Burbank, California. And last year, I went down there and sang 3 songs through their microphone. Well, I was interviewed on camera. Then we did 3 songs. You can see it on YouTube. They're real pretty. And then we together as partners were repurposing that content. And Mojave is an affiliate, so they're part of my affiliate program. And when someone purchases, the deal is when someone purchases my 2 primary flagship singing courses, they automatically get a free microphone. They get this microphone that we did content on, which is gorgeous. It's not a cheap thing. It's like really nice. And the margins are such that the sponsor takes about 138. I think I do about 230 or something, and the student gets 2 great vocal training courses and a mic. So one clever way that we're getting traffic is offering the market a free microphone, a good one, not a cheap one, when they buy both courses. And by leveraging the affiliate system, we're able to kind of make it all work for everybody.
So you got a few traffic sources. You've got affiliates promoting your stuff with a
Yeah.
special offer that come through that. You've got YouTube. You're starting some other social media.
Yeah.
Is YouTube the number one traffic source?
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah.
I'm on your YouTube right now, and if this is correct, I think folks would be encouraged to hear this, but it looks like you've got about 18,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. It should be 23, but I got in trouble for playing with with bad software, and they beat me up at $5,000. Yeah, but yeah, it's 18. I
Okay.
always thought that was good, but not amazing. Yeah. But it's enough. It's enough to send traffic to yeah, to the website,
Mhm.
which is, by the way, this is important. They go to my Kajabi website, and the copy's really great. So I've worked really hard to get the copy written properly. It's got story brand copy on it, and right up front when you go to the website, Jacques, if you're checking that out, you'll see that I'm doing a CTA to this promo. So I want to get people from YouTube to a website that kicks butt, and then also to that promo where they can get both courses and a mic for a really good deal.
Okay. So I'm on your website right now, and the call to action is this big red button that says start now. Is that kind of where you're wanting people to go?
Is it red? I thought it was. Maybe it's red. Look up at that will get you there. But up at the top of the website, do you see sort of a
Mhm.
message that says, yeah? So you could click there, or you could click the chat system down the bottom right corner. I suspect that people are clicking the big message up at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for the sake of the audio listener here, there's a banner at the top of the site. At the time of recording this, it says get the vocal athlete package and receive a free Mojave MAD microphone. Click here. So I'm going
Yes.
to click that.
Yep.
And it is essentially a sales page that I'm looking at here for a
Yep.
$397 offer.
Yep. Landing page, and then there's a cool video that I did at the top that sort of explains the microphone and the deal, the offer.
Do you have any sort of urgency, countdowns, deadlines with this offer?
I don't at the moment. I don't. Um, it's sitting out there as a static offer, as a maybe we call it an evergreen offer. So if I had little like ticker countdowns on there, I would feel sort of funny about it because it isn't really counting down to anything. It's not a webinar, and I would just personally, that would be funny for me to do that. I want to be. That doesn't seem genuine to me, so I wouldn't want to do that. And the offer is really great. I don't think I need the urgency. Although I can appreciate if I had that, I might get more conversions. I appreciate that, but I don't know how to. I'm not sure how I would do that for something that's dangling out there permanently.
Oh, the way I do it is it's kind of behind a funnel, right? That's how I do it for Piano in 21 Days. Somebody can go to the website at any time and buy at the full price, but I'm also heavily promoting on my website a lead magnet. Learn 36 popular songs in 5 days. It's a free workbook people can download. Had that forever. Once they give me their email address, everything then happens kind of behind the scenes through email and whatnot. And I send them a lot of value, a lot of information, and I send them a limited time discount offer on the program that expires. And I think, in my opinion, the ethics come in when you do what you say you're going to do. So, Robert, if you opt in today on my website for the lead magnet, in about 12 days from now will be your deadline on the offer. And if you try to access that offer on day 13, you will not be able to because I use software called Deadline Funnel, right? So you will have your own personal urgency that is very, very real for you, right?
Cool.
If I said, hey, this offer is going away, and then the next day it didn't go away, you could still buy it. In my opinion, that's when we get into unethical marketing.
Yeah. Well, of course, and I love that idea, and I'd like to be running on that. I do have a lead magnet. I do have a sequence. If you scroll to the bottom, you should see an opt-in form there. But it does not have a sense of urgency at the end, and I'd love to get that going. Happy to work with you to do that.
Cool. So, about how many of these courses are you selling each month?
Um, See, the average is about seven. So did the math on that. You range anywhere from about 4 to 7. So
Okay. And you mentioned the chat feature at the bottom right, which I do see. Do some like tell me how that works? Are sales coming through that?
Um, what's coming through that is support requests mostly. A few sales will come through that, but not, I don't think, a lot. Mostly what I'm getting from that is I have questions about your course. Can you answer questions for me and that sort of thing? So it's outreaching, and it's getting people to engage. That widget is from Pipedrive.
Pipedrive.
Yeah, and
How
and and the information goes to a pipeline inside Pipedrive.
So you're kind of like me where you've got the course business and then you're also helping course creators. The way you help is significantly different than the way that I help. You run an agency, whereas I just kind of offer information through this podcast, and then I do have a coaching program as well. But I'm
Okay.
curious how you split your time between the two businesses.
Yeah. Um, at the moment, it is about 85-90% CourseCREEK, the agency. Yeah. Um, it's just growing, and it's a really great business. And I enjoy that job. It has fun elements to it. It's not as fun as being a voice coach at face value, where you get to play with a microphone all day and sing songs. But I did that for 25 years. I did that 25, 30 years. And I'm still happy to do it today. I am. It's still part of my life. It always will be. But I don't know about piano teaching, but voice coaching has a lifespan to it before you get burned out. You're good for about 20 years, maybe 30 years, and then you just get really burned out on it. So selling the courses is still running. I don't do one-on-ones anymore. But yeah, 85, 90% of my time is in CourseCREEK, because that's where the bigger business is.
Or the 10 to 15% you do spend on the vocalist studio, what are you doing these days?
Um, selling those courses, and I do a 1 hour live with Coach Robert once a month. It's a subscription-based service, so that's another funnel that we have. When they purchase the course, they get some automated emails where they can then get to a live Q&A. So 1 hour a month, we'll fire up a Zoom call. They have to have the course, and we do Q&A. You can see some of that content out on YouTube. I record it and repurpose it as well. And there's another funnel that I have that I should mention, which is interesting. I have a lean version of my full course on the website we've been talking about. There's a smaller sort of lean version. We'll call it sort of like a tripwire version out at Udemy. Okay.
Oh,
And
really? Tell me more about that.
yeah. So I had some friends of mine back in the day before CourseCREEK. This would have been maybe 8 years ago, maybe around the time when you and I first met. Okay.
Mhm.
I put a lean version of the Four Pillars of Singing on Udemy just to see what would happen. It was just an experiment. Here's this thing out there. What would happen? And I did so, and that took off. It took off because I believe my courses were a little bit more in depth than some of the competition, frankly. Two, it took off because I had what we might call, I guess it's not a lead magnet, but I've written a book. I have a 665-page book on vocal technique, and I offered a ebook viewer only for Udemy. So the Udemy people got a lean, and they still do today. You can see me out there. It's out there. It's still there. A lean version of the full course that's at Kajabi. In that lean version, they're getting the first 119 pages of the 662-page full book. And that offer was a hit out at Udemy. Like a big hit. Like $270,000 worth of a hit. Now, inside Udemy, there are ways to do this that are within the rules of the trust and safety rules at Udemy. So there's a way to work with Udemy to take that traffic, those customers, those students inside my Udemy course, and send them to a landing page at my Kajabi and upsell to the full course. Okay, so that's clever. I actually gave it a name. I call it platform funneling. And now at CourseCREEK, not all the time, but every once in a while, we'll recommend a platform funnel where the client takes a small portion of their course, they put it on another platform, Udemy, Skillshare, something of that nature, and we set it up in such a way that that traffic is invited to go land on a landing page and use a valuable tool on that page. It's not only sales. It's important. It's not only sales. In my case, students from Udemy go to my Kajabi to train their voice. On that page are embedded audio files, piano scales, vocalises, where they train their voice. So they go there every day to practice their voice. Well, while they're out there, there's a banner in the top right corner. There's a video at the top that says you need to, check out the full course if you're digging it. So I have that funnel running as well, and that's been going for years. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, social media, platform funneling, sponsorships. Yeah, but I don't have the urgency thing. You and I should talk. I'd love to have that.
Let's talk about tech. You mentioned Kajabi, the website's on Kajabi, the course is on Kajabi.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you have in Kajabi? You sending out emails through Kajabi as well?
I am with my lead magnet. Yeah.
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 What other software are you using to run the business, or is it pretty much just Kajabi?
Oh, great question. Glad you asked that for the benefit of your listeners. I have bypassed Kajabi's checkout. Okay, it's fine, but in the vocal training program business, affiliates are a thing. Affiliates a big deal. I suspect, if I had to guess, I'd say it'd be the same thing for piano. There's people out there that have review websites, right, Chuck? And they want to review, and you kind of feel like, gosh, I need to get my thing out there. So affiliates are a big thing. Therefore, I need a world-class affiliate software, which you don't really get OEM with Kajabi. So long story short, we are using Zapier out to ThriveCart.
ThriveCart. Is that, in your opinion, is ThriveCart the best checkout software?
The best I've ever used. I love it. It's outstanding. It's just freaking awesome. But here's the funny thing about that. ThriveCart is all about, it's kind of like a SamCart, right? So ThriveCart's all about high converting carts, which I benefit from. But the reason I got ThriveCart was to get the affiliate software that they have built into it. They don't lead as affiliate software, but fact is they have fantastic affiliate software. One, it pays automatically. Or Kajabi and other systems I used, you have to pull out a CSV file at the end of each month and then manually pay people, and I don't have time for that. So ThriveCart will automatically pay your people. You don't touch it ever again. It's literally, evergreen. Also, they offer a two-tiered system where somebody can override another affiliate's sale and get a percentage of it. For example, we're doing that right now. We're taking the most successful vocal course training affiliate in the world today. He's a friend of mine. He sings like God. He's absolutely an amazing singer. Classical singer, actually. And he has a review page on singing courses. And we come highly recommended. He has my course. And he wants to take advantage of that Mojave microphone deal. Okay. So he's now sending his traffic to the Mojave microphone landing page that you're looking at. So now Mojave's getting a cut from that, and he's getting a cut from it. So now we've got 4 people in the benefit loop: the customer, homie, the affiliate that's sending new traffic, and the mic company that's offering the nice, beautiful microphone. ThriveCart allows you to do that, which is very cool. And my God, it is so affordable. You got the SamCart. I've looked at it. SamCart's is beautiful too. I've never used it, but SamCart is, every month you're going to pay $119 or whatever. It's going to be expensive. ThriveCart, all of this that I just described for you, cost me $600 one time.
One time.
One time. And I pushed, over $250,000 through it.
Yeah.
For singing course. So that's helping my success with the singing stuff. Having affiliates. Maybe one of the takeaways for your listeners is affiliates are important, especially if you're, products like this. Affiliates are going to be really important. So that means you need good affiliate software.
Sure. Yeah, I've never used ThriveCart personally, but I know a lot of people that use it and love it and speak to it the way that you are. So, and it sounds like you can't beat the pricing either.
It's the best deal in town. There is no better deal. You pay $600 one-time lifetime access to a system, to a machine that does $250,000 a year for you. I know. Last time I checked, that's a good deal.
So, $250,000 a year. That's what this business is doing
for the vocal training business.
Yeah. So the math isn't lining up for me because you mentioned 4 to 7 courses a month.
Oh, so the quarter is out at Udemy. Total at Udemy. It's actually $270 at Udemy.
$270K?
Yes. At Udemy.
From Udemy alone?
All time.
All time. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So Robert, what else, man? I'm kind of hit my bullet points here. What other advice do you have for both course creators and aspiring course creators out there?
Like Jock said, if you aren't afraid of getting in front of the camera, you're not afraid to like create content for yourself, I would highly encourage going for it and using that as a nice foundation. If you don't have the budget to come to an agency, use that as a foundation to get moving. And I want to say this too. People, when they think about courses, they sort of think that, well, if I do this and I get this done, and if it works, it's all passive income. Well, it's semi-passive. I mean, all these things that Jacques and I have talked about today require work. You have to build things, you have to fix things, you have to go back and that sort of thing. So it's rare that you're just totally hands off, don't have to do anything. There's a little bit of that. But systems need to be updated and you need to do new promos. And I probably need to talk to Jacques about doing an urgency thing on my nurture sequence. This stuff never changes. So it's going to be work, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it. You put all of your sweat equity up front and any investment you have up front, which is risky. And if it works, it totally pays off. It's worth it. So I recommend that people do that. I recommend that you do make a course. If you're willing to do the work. Yeah.
Nice, Robert. Look, thanks for your time here today, man. Sure. That's gonna do it here for this conversation, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun. It's good to see you again.
Same. Thanks, Robert.
Okay.